Hello and a very warm welcome to the British Accent Podcast. Are you learning English and want to sound more natural, more confident and a bit more British? You've come to the perfect place, and I'm thrilled to be your guide on this exciting journey. Each week, we'll dive into fascinating topics, from everyday life and culture in the UK to tips on pronunciation, vocabulary, and common expressions. We'll break down everything in a clear, easy-to-understand way so you can improve your listening skills and start speaking with clarity. It's not just about learning words. It's about understanding the rhythm and music of the language. So, if you're ready to take your English to the next level, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I can't wait to get started with you. Cheers! Welcome back to the British Accent Podcast. Today, we're diving into a topic many English learners ask about all the time: how to practice English when you're studying alone.
Exactly. A lot of people think they need a partner or a teacher every day, but that's not true. You can improve a lot on your own if you know how to practice the right way.
Nick, when you were learning other languages, what was your favorite way to practice alone?
For me, it was speaking out loud. I know it feels strange at first, but talking to yourself is one of the strongest ways to build fluency. You can describe what you're doing, what you see around you, or what you're planning to do later.
For me, it was speaking out loud. I know it feels strange at first, but talking to yourself is one of the strongest ways to build fluency. You can describe what you're doing, what you see around you, or what you're planning to do later.
And it builds confidence. You don't need to worry about mistakes when you're alone, so you can focus on speaking clearly and naturally.
Another method is shadowing. Many learners say shadowing feels difficult, but it really helps with rhythm and pronunciation.
Shadowing is simple. You listen to a short audio clip and speak at the same time as the speaker. You copy the pronunciation, the stress, the intonation. It trains your mouth to move in a more natural way.
And the best part is that you don't need long materials. Even 30 seconds of audio is enough to repeat many times.
Here's another idea. Keep a daily English journal. Just write a few sentences about your day. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Journaling is great because it helps you practice grammar without pressure. When you write regularly, you start noticing patterns and your sentence structure becomes more natural.
Plus, you can read it again later and see how much you've improved. That can be very motivating.
What about listening practice? People often say they listen to English but still don't understand native speakers well.
That's because they listen passively. To improve faster, you need active listening. Pause the audio, repeat a sentence, try to catch new words, and check how speakers connect sounds.
And choose content that matches your level. If it's too difficult, your brain gets tired quickly. If it's slightly above your level, you learn faster.
You can also slow the audio down when needed. Just don't make it too slow because it changes the natural rhythm.
Another powerful habit is reading out loud. It improves pronunciation and builds confidence.
Yes, and it helps you practice speaking with correct grammar because you're reading well-written sentences.
You can use short stories, news articles, or even simple dialogues.
One more thing, create small English moments in your daily life. Change your phone to English. Think in English when you're walking, or read signs in English.
Those tiny habits make a huge difference. They keep your mind connected to the language throughout the day.
Practicing alone doesn't mean you're learning slowly. Many learners who study independently improve faster because they're consistent and they use every opportunity to practice.
Exactly. If you combine speaking, listening, reading, and writing even just a little each day, you'll see progress.
And what matters most is consistency. Even 10 minutes a day can transform your English over time.
Right. Stay patient, stay curious, and keep practicing.
Another thing learners often forget is pronunciation practice. Many people think pronunciation is only about sounding like a native speaker, but it's more about being clear and easy to understand.
That's true. One simple exercise is to record yourself. Choose a short text, read it out loud, and then listen back. You'll notice things you don't hear while you're speaking.
And when you listen to your own voice, you start understanding your pronunciation patterns. Maybe you speak too fast, or maybe some sounds are unclear.
You can compare your recording with a native speaker version of the same text. This helps you notice differences in stress and word connection.
Another useful idea is to set weekly goals, not big goals, but small, realistic ones. For example, I will shadow for 5 minutes every day, or I will learn 5 new phrases this week.
It gives you a direction. When you study alone, it's easy to feel lost or unsure about what to do next. But with small goals, you always know your next step.
And when you reach those goals, you feel proud of yourself. That motivation helps you keep going.
Many learners also underestimate the power of repetition. Doing the same exercise again and again can feel boring, but it is one of the best ways to build automatic fluency.
Yes, especially for speaking. When you repeat phrases many times, they become natural. You don't need to think anymore. The words just come.
That's why shadowing and reading out loud are so effective. They train your mouth and your brain at the same time.
Music can help too. If you listen to English songs, try reading the lyrics while you listen. You'll learn how words sound when they are connected.
And you can sing along if you want. Songs are great for practicing rhythm and intonation. The melody helps you remember phrases more easily.
Another activity I recommend is describing pictures. Open a random picture online and explain what you see. Colors, actions, objects, emotions, anything.
It builds vocabulary and helps you practice thinking in English. It also prepares you for real conversations because you learn to describe things clearly.
You can even record yourself while doing it. Later, you can listen again and check if your description is clear and natural.
One more useful method is talking about your plans. Future tense is common in daily life, so practicing it helps you speak more confidently.
Yes, you can say things like, "Tomorrow, I'm going to study English," or "Next week, I will try a new practice technique."
These small sentences help you get comfortable with everyday English patterns. They're simple but powerful.
Another habit that helps a lot is creating your own mini dialogues. You don't need a partner to do this. You can write a short conversation between two people and then read both parts out loud.
It's a good way to practice natural speech because you're using real-life situations. For example, ordering food, asking for help, or talking about your weekend.
And when you practice both sides of the dialogue, you learn how conversations flow. You start understanding how questions and answers connect.
You can even change the dialogue slightly each time. Add new vocabulary, try different grammar structures, or make the situation more detailed.
Another idea is to build your own phrase bank. Many learners worrying about grammar, but what they really need is ready-made phrases for common situations.
Yes, like "I'm not sure, but I think." Could you explain that again? Or "in my opinion"? These phrases help you keep conversations going smoothly.
If you collect 10 or 20 useful phrases and repeat them every day, they become automatic. Then you can use them without thinking too much.
And you can add expressions you hear from podcasts, videos, or movies. Whenever something sounds natural, write it down.
Another helpful technique is to imitate accents or voices for practice. Not to sound funny, but to explore different ways of producing sounds.
Yes, sometimes exaggerating the sounds helps your mouth learn new positions. English has different rhythms and stress patterns, so experimenting makes learning easier.
And it also improves your listening skills because you pay attention to details like pitch, stress, and speed.
Learners can also practice grammar by speaking instead of writing. Many people only study grammar with books, but speaking grammar is different.
Exactly. You can choose one grammar point like past tense, present perfect, or conditionals and talk about it for a few minutes. For example, yesterday or I have been.
Even if your sentences are simple, the practice helps you build confidence. The more you say the structure, the more natural it becomes.
Another important thing is building your environment. When you practice alone, your environment is your teacher.
Changing small things around you can make a big difference. For example, putting English labels on objects in your room or keeping English books on your desk.
And having English podcasts or videos playing in the background can help you get used to the sounds of the language, even when you're not focused on them.
All these small changes make English feel like part of your daily life, not just a subject you study.
Another thing that can really help is practicing with questions. You can make a list of common questions and answer them out loud.
Questions are the heart of conversations. If you can answer simple ones quickly, your fluency improves. Questions like, what did you do today? What are your goals this week? Or why are you learning English?
And you can challenge yourself by giving longer answers each time. Start with one sentence, then try 2 or 3. It trains your brain to speak without stopping.
You can also switch roles. First, answer the question as yourself. Then imagine you're someone else and answer it again in a different way. It's a fun exercise that also builds creativity.
Reading short paragraphs is another strong method. Choose something simple, read it silently, and then try to explain it in your own words.
That technique helps with comprehension and speaking at the same time. When you explain what you just read, you're practicing thinking in English and forming sentences more naturally.
And you don't need a difficult text. Even a small paragraph from a children's book or a blog post is enough.
Then you can check the original text again to see if you missed something. Over time, you'll become better at understanding and summarizing English content.
You can also try creating personal challenges. For example, challenge yourself to speak in English for 5 minutes straight about any topic.
It sounds simple, but many learners struggle with it at first. But the more you do it, the more your mind adapts. Soon, 5 minutes becomes easy, and you can try 10 minutes.
To make it easier, you can choose a topic before you start, such as travel, food, school, work, or hobbies.
Having a topic gives you direction and helps you avoid feeling stuck. And even if you repeat yourself, that's okay. Every minute you speak is valuable practice.
Another great way to practice alone is to imagine a situation and role-play it. For example, imagine you're at the airport, checking in for a flight.
Or imagine you're at a CAF ordering something to drink. You can practice both the customer and the staff roles.
This helps you prepare for real-life situations. When the moment comes, you won't feel nervous because you've already practiced it in your mind.
It's also a good way to learn useful vocabulary and expressions for everyday life.
Many learners also benefit from using flashcards, especially for phrases. Not just single words, but full expressions.
Yes, because real communication depends on phrases, not individual words. Flashcards help you review quickly and regularly.
You can use digital apps or make your own on paper. Both are effective as long as you review them often.
And when you use a phrase in a sentence, you remember it better than just reading it.
Another technique that works well, listening and repeating in small sections. Choose a short audio clip, pause after one sentence, and repeat exactly what you heard.
It's like shadowing, but slower and more controlled. You can focus on every sound, every stress pattern, and every connected word.
This method is great for learners who feel shadowing is too fast. It gives you time to understand the structure before speaking.
And after practicing slowly, you can play the clip again at normal speed to see how much you can follow. Over time, your listening and speaking become much stronger.
Another useful habit is checking your progress weekly. Not daily, because daily progress is too small to notice. Weekly reflection shows you what's working.
You can ask yourself questions like, what did I learn this week? Or which practice method helped me the most? This helps you adjust your study plan.
And it keeps you motivated. When you see improvement, even small improvement, you feel more confident.
Confidence is one of the most important parts of language learning, especially when you're practicing alone.
You can also create an English corner in your room. Just a small space where you study or practice English.
It doesn't need to be big. Even a desk with a notebook, a dictionary, and a few English books is enough.
When you sit in that space, your brain knows it's time to focus on English. It helps you build a strong routine.
And having a consistent environment makes it easier to stay disciplined, even when you're studying alone.
Another activity is to practice describing your thoughts in detail. Instead of saying, "I'm tired," you can say, "I'm feeling tired because I stayed up late last night finishing my work."
Adding details helps you practice longer sentences and more natural explanations, which is very useful in real conversations.
And it trains you to expand your ideas instead of giving short answers, something many learners struggle with.
You can do this anytime while walking, cooking, or waiting for something. It's flexible and fits into your daily life easily.
You can also create topic lists, for example, a list about travel, another about hobbies, another about school or work. Then choose one topic each day and speak about it.
That helps you organize your speaking practice. It also ensures you cover many different areas of vocabulary.
And if you repeat a topic after a few weeks, you'll notice you can say more than before.
That feeling of progress is very motivating and keeps you practicing regularly.
Another way to practice on your own is by using timers. Set a timer for 2 minutes and talk about anything without stopping.
Timers create a small challenge. They push you to think quickly and speak continuously, which is excellent for fluency.
And you can slowly increase the time as you get more comfortable. 2 minutes today, 3 minutes next week, and so on.
It also helps you learn how to manage silence. Many learners panic when they don't know what to say, but this exercise teaches you to keep going.
Another simple method is comparing your speaking with the same topic over time. Record yourself talking about a topic today, then record the same topic again after 1 month.
When you listen to both recordings, you'll hear how much you've grown. Maybe your pronunciation is clearer or your sentences are longer.
It's a great way to measure your real progress, especially when you're studying alone.
And it gives you honest feedback. Sometimes you don't realize how much you've improved until you listen back.
You can also practice with English questions you find online. There are thousands of conversation questions for learners.
Yes, choose 10 questions and answer them one by one. Even simple questions help you build speaking confidence.
And if you don't know how to answer a question, that's okay. It shows you what vocabulary you need to learn.
You can write down the words you're missing and look them up later. That turns your speaking practice into a learning moment.
Another useful activity is to read short news summaries. News summaries are usually clear, simple, and great for practicing modern vocabulary.
After reading, try to retell the news in your own words. You don't need all the details, just the main idea is enough.
This builds comprehension and speaking skills at the same time.
And because news stories change every day, you always have new material to practice with.
You can also learn a lot by focusing on collocations, which are words that naturally go together. For example, make a decision, take a break, or catch a cold.
Using collocations makes your English sound much more natural. They help you avoid unnatural combinations like do decision, which many learners say.
You can make a small collocation notebook. Every time you find a useful pair of words, write it down.
Then, create your own sentences with those collocations. It's a simple way to improve your speaking and writing at the same time.
Another helpful method is practicing intonation. Many learners focus on vocabulary and grammar, but forget the music of English.
Yes, intonation shows emotion, attitude, and meaning. You can take a short sentence like "Are you ready?" and try saying it in different ways: curious, excited, or serious.
This exercise helps your speech sound more natural and less flat. It also improves your listening because you learn how English speakers express feelings.
You can even choose lines from movies or podcasts and try to match the rhythm. It's a simple but powerful technique.
Another thing you can do is set up small English routines throughout the day. For example, morning English, afternoon English, evening English.
Morning English could be something light, like listening to a short podcast while getting ready.
Afternoon English could be 5 minutes of shadowing or reading out loud.
And evening English could be journaling or describing your day.
When you connect English to different parts of your day, it becomes a natural habit.
You can also practice by rewriting sentences. Take a simple sentence like, "I enjoy reading," and rewrite it in 3 different ways.
For example, I like reading books. Reading is one of my hobbies, or I spend a lot of time reading.
This helps you expand your vocabulary and understand how to express one idea in different ways.
It's a great exercise for learners who want to sound more flexible and confident.
Another technique is imagination training. Close your eyes and imagine a place: a beach, a CAF, a library. Then describe everything around you in English.
Describe the sounds, the smells, the colors, and the people. This activates your creativity and helps you build detailed sentences.
And because you're imagining the scene, you can practice anywhere, even when you don't have materials with you.
It also helps with quick thinking, which is an important skill in conversations.
Many learners also find value in focusing on problem areas. If you notice you always struggle with a certain tense or sound, you can spend extra time on it.
Yes, targeted practice is very effective. Instead of practicing everything randomly, you focus on the exact skill you want to improve.
And when that one area becomes easier, your overall speaking ability becomes stronger.
It's a smart way to study, especially when you're learning alone. Another method that can help is creating your own vocabulary themes. Instead of learning random words, choose a theme like home, work, food, or travel, and collect useful words and phrases connected to that topic.
This way, when you speak about that topic, you already have the vocabulary ready in your mind. It makes conversations easier and more natural.
You can also make short lists, like 10 words per theme, so you don't feel overwhelmed.
And after learning the words, you can practice using them in sentences or short stories. That helps them become part of your active vocabulary.
Another thing you can do when practicing alone is to challenge yourself with synonyms. Take a common word like happy and try to think of other words with a similar meaning. Another thing you can do when practicing alone is to challenge yourself with synonyms. Take a common word like happy and try to think of other words with a similar meaning.
Words like glad, pleased, or joyful. It helps you expand your vocabulary without needing long lists.
Then use each synonym in a sentence. It makes you more comfortable choosing different words when you speak.
And it also helps you understand more when listening, because native speakers use a wide variety of words.
You can also use English subtitles wisely. Many learners watch videos with subtitles, but they read instead of listen.
A better method is to watch once with English subtitles, then watch the same part again without them. That way, you train your listening step by step.
It's a simple technique, but it builds strong listening skills over time.
And you don't need to watch long videos. Even watching a 1-minute clip several times can help a lot.
Another activity for solo practice is to explain how something works. Choose a simple process, like how to make tea or how to send an email, and explain each step in English.
This is great for building clarity and structure when speaking. You learn to organize your thoughts and express them logically.
And if you record yourself, you can check later if your explanation was clear or if you missed something.
You can try harder processes over time, like explaining how a machine works or how to plan a trip.
You can also practice English by reading dialogues from books or online scripts. Then act them out as if you're performing a scene.
It's a fun way to explore tone, emotion, and real-life conversation patterns.
And because dialogues are written for speaking, they help you sound more natural.
You can choose dialogues from movies, plays, or even simple storybooks. Any level works as long as you understand the content.
Another habit is to speak English while doing tasks. For example, when you're cleaning your room, you can describe what you're doing. I'm folding my clothes, I'm organizing my desk, and so on.
This is a practical way to practice because you're using real actions. The sentences become easier to remember because they're connected to what you're actually doing.
And doing this regularly helps your brain stay active in English throughout the day.
It turns everyday tasks into learning opportunities without needing any special materials.
Another useful idea is to make a weekly speaking theme. For example, this week you focus on talking about health, next week you focus on technology, and the week after you focus on daily routines.
Having a theme helps your brain stay focused. It also gives you a clear direction when you practice every day.
And during that week, you can collect new vocabulary, watch videos related to the theme, and practice speaking about it in different ways.
By the end of the week, you'll feel much more confident speaking about that topic.
You can also challenge yourself with memory training. Say a sentence, then repeat it while adding one more detail.
For example, start with I went to the market, then add I went to the market to buy vegetables, then add again I went to the market to buy vegetables because I wanted to cook dinner.
This builds longer sentences and helps you remember structures more easily.
It also trains your mind to expand ideas naturally, which is important for fluent conversations.
Another powerful technique is thinking in English directly, even if your sentences are simple.
Instead of translating from your native language, try forming thoughts in English from the start. You can think about what you're doing, what you want to do, or what you see around you.
At first, it might feel slow, but your brain gets faster with practice.
And this habit helps you speak more smoothly because you stop depending on translation.
You can also use your phone for short practice sessions. Set voice reminders in English or write your to-do lists in English.
These small changes make English part of your routine. You don't need to study for hours to improve.
Even writing quick notes or short messages to yourself counts as practice.
The key is consistency. A little bit every day builds strong fluency over time.
Another effective method is to use English for problem solving. For example, plan your budget in English or organize your weekly schedule in English.
When you use English to solve real problems, it feels more natural and meaningful.
You start connecting English with real life instead of just study time.
And this kind of practice helps you think more deeply in English because you're doing real tasks, not just exercises.
You can also practice storytelling. Start with a simple story from your life and try telling it in more detail.
Talk about what happened, where you were, how you felt, and what you learned.
Storytelling improves your fluency, vocabulary, and ability to organize your ideas.
And it prepares you for real conversations because people love sharing stories in daily life.
Another way to practice is to pick a picture and describe it in as much detail as you can. It could be a photo from the internet or something around you.
Describe the colors, the people, the objects, and even the atmosphere. This helps you build vocabulary for visual details.
And you can challenge yourself by describing the picture again, but using different words or a different point of view.
It's a simple activity, but it trains your mind to notice small details and turn them into sentences.
You can also practice by comparing things. Choose two objects, two places, or two experiences, and talk about how they are similar and different.
For example, compare your city to another city, or compare studying alone to studying with friends.
When you compare, you naturally use useful structures like both, however, on the other hand, and while.
These structures make your speech sound more organized and professional.
Another good technique is answering questions in different tenses. Take one question, like what do you do in the morning, and try answering it in the past, present, and future.
For example, yesterday morning I, this morning I, tomorrow morning I will. It helps you practice grammar while speaking.
And it shows you which tenses you use confidently and which ones need more practice.
You can do this with almost any question, and it's a great way to strengthen your grammar skills without studying too much theory.
You can also challenge yourself to speak more formally or more casually about the same topic.
For example, if the topic is your job, you can explain using formal language and then try again using a more relaxed style.
This trains your flexibility, so you can speak appropriately in different situations.
It also helps you understand how tone and word choice change depending on who you're speaking to.
Another idea is to retell stories you've heard. It could be a video, a podcast episode, a short story, or even something a friend told you.
You don't need to copy every detail. Just focus on the main events and explain them in your own words.
Retelling improves memory, fluency, and creativity at the same time.
And it's a natural way to practice because people share stories all the time in real conversations.
You can also practice pronunciation by grouping similar sounds. Choose the sounds that are difficult for you and make sentences using both.
For example, if you struggle with ship and sheep, you can say sentences like, the ship left early and the sheep are eating grass.
Repeating these helps your mouth learn the differences.
And when you feel more confident, you can practice with longer sentences or faster rhythm.
Another thing you can do is practice giving opinions. Choose a simple question like, do you prefer studying at home or in a cafe? And explain your opinion with reasons.
Opinions are a big part of real conversations. You can follow a simple structure, your opinion, your reason, and an example.
For example, I prefer studying in a cafe because the atmosphere helps me focus. For example, the background noise makes me feel productive.
When you follow this structure often, giving opinions becomes automatic and much easier.
You can also make English a part of your entertainment. Change your game language to English or use English subtitles when watching a show.
These small changes make a big difference because you're practicing without even realizing it.
And when you play games in English, you often see natural expressions, instructions, and dialogues.
It's a relaxed way to absorb useful language while doing something you enjoy.
Another helpful activity is talking about future plans. Try describing your goals for the week, the month, or even the year.
When you talk about your plans, you practice future tenses and modal verbs like will, might, and going to.
And planning in English makes your speaking more organized and realistic.
It also helps you stay motivated because you think about what you want to achieve.
You can also practice by explaining your preferences. For example, why you like one style of music more than another, or why you prefer tea instead of coffee.
When you explain preferences, you naturally use useful words like because, although, and however.
And these linking words make your speaking smoother and more connected.
You can even practice with small topics, like your favorite color or your favorite season.
Another great exercise is asking yourself questions. For example, what made me smile today? Or what challenge did I face this week?
These reflective questions help you talk about your feelings, experiences, and thoughts.
And this kind of speaking builds emotional vocabulary, which many learners don't practice enough.
It also prepares you for deeper conversations in English, not just everyday topics.
You can also practice describing a process from start to finish. For example, how you get ready in the morning or how you cook your favorite meal.
This helps you practice sequence words like first, next, after that, and finally.
Those words make your speech clear and easy to follow.
And when you use them naturally, your explanations sound much more structured.
Another method is speaking while reading. Read a sentence silently, then close the book and try saying the same idea in your own words.
This builds both memory and fluency. You learn to express ideas without relying on the exact wording.
And it pushes you to use your own vocabulary, which is important for independent speaking.
Even short paragraphs work well for this technique. Another thing people often forget is practicing English through everyday tasks. It sounds simple, but it works. For example, when you cook, you can say your actions in English. You can say things like, I am cutting the vegetables, or I am boiling the water. It helps your brain think in English while doing something natural.
Yes, and you don't need extra time for it. You use the time you already have. Even when you clean your room, you can describe what you're doing or name the objects around you. It makes English feel like part of your daily life, not something separate or difficult.
And even better, these small habits help you build confidence. When you speak English often, even if you're speaking to yourself, your mouth gets used to the language. Your pronunciation becomes smoother, and your fluency grows over time.
Another idea is recording your own voice every week. Many learners don't like hearing their voice, but it's a great way to see your progress. You can record yourself talking for 2 or 3 minutes about your day, your hobby, or anything simple. After a few weeks, listen again, and you will hear big improvements.
Yes, and you can also imitate native speakers. Choose a short video, maybe 30 seconds, and repeat it several times. Focus on rhythm, stress, and intonation. Even if your vocabulary is simple, copying the natural sound of English helps you speak more confidently.
Something else that really helps is creating your own English environment, especially if you don't live in an English-speaking country. You can change your phone or laptop language to English. You can follow English pages on social media. You can listen to English music or podcasts while traveling or relaxing.
And if you want to push yourself a little more, try speaking for 1 minute without stopping. Choose a topic, set a timer, and speak until the timer ends. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to keep speaking, to train your brain to think in English without translating.
You can also write simple goals for each week. For example, this week I want to learn 10 new words, or this week I want to speak for 1 minute every day. When you set clear goals, you stay motivated and organized.
Yes, and learning by yourself doesn't mean you are alone. There are many students around the world practicing English in the same way. You can join online groups, comment on English videos, or find a conversation partner. But even if you cannot speak with someone every day, you can still grow a lot on your own.
And remember, consistency is more important than perfection. Even 10 minutes a day is powerful if you do it regularly. It's better than studying for 2 hours once a week, because your brain learns best through small, frequent practice.
Exactly. When you practice English in small ways throughout your day, it becomes a natural part of your life. You start thinking faster, speaking smoother, and feeling more confident step by step.
And the great thing is, the more you enjoy the process, the easier it becomes to continue. Making English fun is a big part of learning. Things like reading simple stories, watching videos you enjoy, or talking about topics you love can make the journey much easier.
And that's something we should talk about more. How to make English practice feel enjoyable, not heavy or stressful.
Yes, let's go deeper into that because many learners struggle with motivation, especially when studying alone.
One simple way to make English enjoyable is choosing content that matches your personality. If you like cooking, watch short English recipe videos. If you enjoy travel, explore travel vlogs. When the topic is interesting, it doesn't feel like studying.
I agree, and it's helpful to choose content that is not too difficult. If something feels too advanced, you might lose motivation. But if it's too easy, you won't grow. So finding that balance is important. You should feel challenged, but not stressed.
Another thing is mixing active and passive practice. Active practice is when you speak, write, or repeat sentences. Passive practice is when you listen while doing something else. You don't need to be 100% focused all the time. Even listening while walking or relaxing can improve your understanding.
Yes, because your brain continues learning even when you feel relaxed. That's why many learners say that listening every day helps them understand native speakers more easily. The more English your ears hear, the more familiar the language becomes.
And using English for your hobbies makes it even more fun. For example, if you enjoy photography, learn English words about cameras and lighting. If you like fitness, watch English workout videos. You can learn new vocabulary in a natural way, connected to something you love.
You can also reward yourself after achieving small goals. For example, if you practice English for 7 days, give yourself a treat. It makes the learning process positive and enjoyable. Motivation grows when you feel good about your progress.
Another way to make solo practice more interesting is using English games or quizzes. They are simple but fun. You can test your vocabulary, grammar, or listening skills without pressure. It feels like playing, not studying.
Yes, and using apps or online resources can keep your practice fresh. Some apps focus on pronunciation, some on vocabulary, and some on speaking. Switching between them helps you stay engaged and not get bored.
Also, many learners don't realize how helpful visualization is. For example, before you speak, imagine the situation. Imagine you are ordering food, or talking to a friend, or asking for directions. When you visualize the moment, your mind prepares the language naturally.
And imagination makes the language come alive, even if you are alone. You can create simple scenes in your mind and talk through them. It helps you practice without needing a partner.
Another enjoyable method is shadowing with short clips. When you choose videos that match your interests, shadowing becomes fun. You can copy the tone, speed, and style of the speaker. It feels like training with a friend.
And shadowing improves your speaking rhythm, which is important for sounding more natural. Many learners struggle with rhythm because they translate from their native language. But copying real audio helps you break that habit.
True. And the more natural your rhythm becomes, the more confident you feel in real conversations. Even if your vocabulary is basic, good rhythm makes your speaking clearer and easier to understand.
And that leads to another key point. Clarity is more important than complexity. When practicing alone, focus on speaking clearly, not using advanced words. Good pronunciation and rhythm make your English sound strong, even with simple vocabulary.
Many learners don't realize this. They think they must use long, complicated words to sound fluent. But real fluency is about communicating smoothly, confidently, and clearly. Simple words can do that very well.
Exactly. And once you feel comfortable with simple communication, you can naturally add more vocabulary over time. Fluency grows step by step, not all at once.
Speaking of vocabulary, I think we should talk about how learners can build vocabulary on their own without feeling overwhelmed.
Yes, because vocabulary is one of the biggest challenges for people who practice by themselves.
One practical way to build vocabulary is choosing small groups of words instead of long random lists. For example, you can focus on 10 words related to one topic, like household items, food, or travel, When the words are connected by a theme, they are easier to remember.
And it also helps if you use those words in simple sentences. Many learners try to memorize words without using them, and that makes the vocabulary disappear quickly. But if you create short sentences, like I need to pack my suitcase, or I clean my kitchen every morning, your brain remembers much longer.
Another helpful method is personal vocabulary. When you learn a new word, try to connect it to your own life. For example, if you learn the word routine, make a sentence about your own routine. If you learn goal, write a sentence about your personal goals. When the word feels personal, it becomes easier to remember.
And reviewing is just as important as learning. Many learners forget this. If you study new words every day but never review them, they fade quickly. But if you review your vocabulary once or twice a week, even for 10 minutes, the words stay fresh.
Yes, and learners should not feel worried if they forget words sometimes. Forgetting is part of learning. That's why reviewing helps. Each review makes the memory stronger.
Another good idea is using vocabulary in different ways. For example, you can write a short paragraph with your new words, then speak the same paragraph out loud, and later listen to something that includes similar vocabulary. When you meet the same words in different forms, reading, writing, speaking, listening, they become familiar much faster.
And to make vocabulary practice more fun, you can choose words from stories, podcasts, or videos you like. When the content is interesting, you feel more motivated to remember the words. It's much easier than learning from a boring list.
Many learners also find it helpful to keep a small notebook or a note on their phone. Whenever they hear a new word, they write it down. Later, they can check it a few times during the week. This small habit keeps vocabulary learning organized.
And writing the meaning in simple English helps too. Sometimes learners translate into their native language every time, and that slows them down. Using simple English explanations makes you think directly in English, which is good for fluency.
Speaking of fluency, vocabulary becomes more powerful when you practice speaking with the new words. Even if you practice alone, you can choose 5 vocabulary words and create a short 1-minute speaking challenge. It's a very effective way to make the words active in your memory.
Yes, because active vocabulary words you can use is more important than passive vocabulary words you only recognize. Practicing by speaking helps turn passive words into active ones.
And the more active vocabulary you have, the easier it becomes to express yourself clearly. Even with basic words, if you can use them well, your communication becomes strong.
And that brings us to another point that helps learners who practice alone: building confidence step by step.
Confidence is a huge part of learning a language, especially when you are practicing by yourself.
Confidence really grows from small successes. When learners practice alone, they sometimes feel unsure because no one is there to tell them they're doing well. But small achievements like speaking for 1 minute without stopping, understanding a short video, or remembering new vocabulary, those moments build real confidence over time.
Yes, and many learners expect confidence to arrive suddenly, like a big moment, but confidence usually grows quietly. Every time you practice, even for a few minutes, your brain becomes more familiar with English. That familiarity turns into confidence slowly and naturally.
And it helps when learners celebrate their progress. For example, when you complete a week of daily practice, you can recognize that achievement. You can tell yourself, "I stayed consistent this week. I improved." This kind of self-encouragement is powerful, especially when practicing alone.
Another important part of confidence is accepting mistakes. Many learners feel embarrassed when they make a mistake, even when they're alone. But mistakes are normal. They show that you're pushing yourself. If you allow yourself to make mistakes, you speak more freely and improve faster.
Exactly. When people try to be perfect, they become silent. But English grows when you use it, not when you wait for perfect sentences. If learners practice speaking out loud every day, even with simple sentences, their confidence rises because their mouth becomes used to the language.
And confidence also comes from exposure. The more English you hear, the more comfortable you feel. Watching English videos, listening to podcasts, or hearing English at low volume while you work makes the language feel familiar. Familiarity reduces fear.
And when the fear is lower, learners become more willing to speak. They don't overthink each sentence. They don't translate too much. They just talk, and that's when fluency really grows.
Another tip is to track your progress. For example, record your voice today, then again next month. The difference might surprise you. When learners hear their own improvement, their confidence increases instantly because they realize they are growing even when they don't notice it day to day.
And sometimes confidence grows by challenging yourself gently. For example, try talking for 2 minutes instead of 1. Try shadowing a slightly faster clip. Try reading a paragraph with stronger pronunciation. Small challenges push you forward without overwhelming you.
Yes, gentle challenges are important. They keep the learning process exciting. And when you achieve something new, you feel proud. That feeling makes you want to continue.
And confidence becomes stronger when English becomes part of your identity. When you say, I am an English learner, or I practice English every day, it feels normal. It becomes part of who you are.
That identity helps you stay committed. When you see yourself as someone who is improving, you keep moving forward naturally. It becomes easier to stay consistent because it's connected to who you want to be.
And consistency, even in small amounts, creates real progress, especially when practicing alone.
Yes, consistency is the real foundation of everything we've been talking about.
Consistency is often misunderstood. Many learners think they need long study sessions every day, but that isn't true. Even 10 minutes of focused practice can make a big difference if you do it regularly. What matters is the rhythm of your practice, not the length.
Right. When you practice English a little bit every day, your brain stays connected to the language. You don't have to start again each time. Instead, you build on what you learned yesterday. That steady connection makes your progress much smoother.
And consistency becomes easier when you attach English to daily habits. For example, listening to a podcast while getting ready in the morning, reading a few sentences while waiting for the bus, or speaking to yourself while cooking. When English becomes part of your routine, it doesn't feel like extra work.
Another helpful idea is choosing a specific time for English practice. It doesn't have to be a long time, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. But when learners keep the same time every day, the habit becomes automatic. It's like brushing your teeth. You just do it, without thinking too much.
And having a simple structure helps too. For example, you might decide Monday for listening, Tuesday for speaking, Wednesday for vocabulary, Thursday for reading, Friday for review. With a small plan like this, you always know what to do, and you don't waste time deciding.
Yes, because many learners lose consistency simply because they don't know what to practice. A small weekly plan removes that confusion. It makes practice easier and more enjoyable.
And it's okay to adapt the plan. If you're tired, you can do a shorter session. If you have more energy, you can practice longer. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It means showing up regularly, even in small ways.
Another thing that helps with consistency is tracking your practice. You can use a simple calendar and mark each day you practice English. Seeing the chain of days gives you motivation to continue. You feel proud of keeping the streak alive.
And even if you break the streak, it's completely fine. What matters is starting again the next day. Progress is not a straight line. Some days are harder, some days are easier. But as long as you return to the practice, you are still improving.
Yes, an improvement becomes very visible after a few months of consistent practice. Your listening becomes sharper, your speaking becomes smoother, your vocabulary becomes stronger, and your confidence grows naturally.
And consistency also helps your brain think in English more automatically. When your brain receives English every day, it stops relying on translation and starts processing ideas directly in English.
That shift thinking directly in English is a big moment for many learners, and it usually happens after steady daily practice, not after long study sessions once in a while.
And once learners start thinking a little in English, everything becomes easier. Listening, speaking, vocabulary, even pronunciation.
Exactly. And that's why practicing by yourself can still be extremely effective. You have the freedom to build habits that fit your lifestyle, your personality, and your goals.
And speaking of goals, maybe we should guide learners on how to set clear goals when they practice alone, because that really helps with direction and motivation.
Yes, goal setting is another key part of learning English independently, and it can make the practice much more focused.
When learners set goals, it gives their practice meaning. For example, a goal could be speak for 1 minute every day, or learn 5 new words related to travel, or finish one podcast episode this week. These goals are simple, but they help you stay focused and motivated.
And goals also help you measure your progress. When you look back and see that you've reached your targets, you realize how much you've grown. It feels rewarding. It gives you energy to continue.
It's important to keep goals realistic. If a goal is too big, it becomes stressful. But if it's small and manageable, you can achieve it more easily. And every achievement builds confidence.
And one more thing, goals can change. As your English gets better, you can create new challenges or adjust old ones. Learning is a journey, and your goals can evolve with you.
Exactly. And even when you practice alone, your goals become like a guide, helping you stay on track, helping you move forward step by step.
So whether learners focus on speaking, listening, vocabulary, or reading, having clear goals makes everything feel more structured and achievable.
And that brings us to the end of today's discussion. Thank you for spending time with us and for practicing your English with us.
We hope you enjoyed this conversation and found it helpful. Stay consistent, stay curious, and keep building your English in small, meaningful steps.
We'll continue this journey with you in the next episode.
See you soon.
Consistency. Meaning, doing something regularly without stopping. Consistency helps you improve your English faster. Even 5 minutes a day is powerful if you have consistency. Routine. Meaning, your daily habits or things you do every day. Adding English to your morning routine can help you learn naturally. I listen to podcasts as part of my daily routine. Confidence. Meaning, the feeling of being sure about your abilities. Speaking every day builds your confidence. You will feel more confidence as English becomes familiar. Familiar. Meaning, something you know well or recognize easily. Listening to English often makes the language feel familiar. The more familiar a word becomes, the easier it is to use. Review. Meaning, to look at or practice something again. You should review new vocabulary once or twice a week. Reviewing helps you remember words for a longer time. Challenge. Meaning, something that is difficult but helps you grow. Shadowing a fast speaker can be a good challenge. Small challenges keep your learning exciting. Achieve. Meaning, to successfully reach a goal. You can achieve a lot with daily practice. She achieved her goal of speaking for 2 minutes. Motivation. Meaning, a feeling that makes you want to do something. Interesting content gives you strong motivation to learn. Tracking progress helps you keep your motivation. Exposure. Meaning, being in contact with something often. Daily exposure to English helps you think in English. Watching videos gives you more exposure to natural speech. Fluent. Meaning, able to speak a language smoothly and easily. Daily speaking practice helps you become more fluent. She wants to be fluent enough to talk with native speakers.